Hello, fellow co-creators, and welcome to Liberatory Love, Elegance Lab, Fully Charged Life, and Into the Wild, and Creative Revolution. These are just some of the different things that I am birthing into the world right now that you may know me from if you don't already know me from an earlier stage of life. And today, in May of 2025, I want to invite you into some summer experiences that I'll be hosting. But I also want to give you a little bit of the backstory behind that. First, I invite you to take a deep breath in through the nose, hold for 7, exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Last one, inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. When my sister was just visiting from Japan in January, she said, I noticed in all your Instagram videos, you are always speaking so fast. But when I look at all the other women who you also repost, they're also speaking that fast. And I just wanted to know, is that just a norm? Because when you speak about what you do, like you were the other night, it was slow and it was rhythmic. And I just wondered, like, why this gap? And this was painful to hear because I had such a resistance to coming back online initially. And then I did, and I got in the flavor of it. And this is how we speak online. We have 3 minutes, we have 90 seconds, we have 30 seconds, and we try to get a point across, and we want to be high energy and clicked on and all the things. And I want to say there's a both and, because there is a part of our system, I believe, that is actually ready for the magnetism of our energy when it is connected to our truth. And that magnetism actually does operate at a certain frequency. And when you are speaking at a certain speed that really holds that delight and that joy, there really might be, and there is for me, an authenticity to it. At the same time, this authentic truth within you that is coming out is also something that is stable and sturdy and grounded. And one of the things that we want to dispel when it comes to coming in touch with greater truth is, one, that there's only one type of way that it looks or feels. And two, that you can't have two things at the same time, that you can't be both speedy and grounded. But what's important about that is getting at the pace that is true for you. And many of us have not had the space or the time to get in touch with that pace that feels resonant and true for us, because we have been operating at a frequency that is being given to us that is out of sync with our own harmony, out of sync with nature's harmony. And also that is being reinforced through our traditional work day. How are we going to break this? How are we going to break this cycle that is out of harmony and out of sync with what is authentic, what is real? And how are we going to come in touch with what is authentic and what is real when we also exist at a time of relativism? I put that in quotes because while there is relative truth for people, this does not negate that there is a real, and that there is a deeper truth that binds and connects all beings and all things. How are we going to come into discussion around the real and the truthful when so often we are in our same patterns of going straight to war with someone who does not perceive things the same way that we perceive them? Some good counselors of mine would encourage me not to only ask how questions, but I do want to bring that how side, since I am a social innovator at heart, a spiritual innovator at heart, someone who is taking and receiving and asking how we can create and move with things, even though there's a both and, that creation is completely intertwined. That when we are connected to innate knowing of who we are, the life force flows through us, and the next actions needed to be taken become intuitive. These are the questions, these are the things that have evolved through me asking questions, period, over time. The framings, the types of questions, they shift. And I've been asking questions for 8 years. 8 years ago is the same time my niece was born. And I traveled across the country, took a beautiful trip to the West Coast, met an amazing person who became someone who I dated and traveled part-time with when I traveled the world. But first, before I went on all those travels, before I moved to DC, I came home and I held my niece, with whose parents were just 2 years older than me. And she began to cry. And I realized that even though I had made my first income as a freelancer, that I had traveled to the West Coast, that I was feeling these new butterflies with somebody, that I couldn't get, I felt impatient with a baby crying in my arms. I felt afraid and like I didn't know how to hold this crying baby. And I had a brother-in-law and a sister who told me when I tried to give the baby back to them, just take a deep breath, Libby, you can do it. And I remember feeling A, surprised that they had faith in me, and B, surprised that here they were only 2 years older than me, but they had this trust to care for this living being. And it brought a quality of shame to me. Not shame in that I'm a bad person, but just in that there was a dissonance, that just because I had achieved certain standards on one level, it did not mean that I was attuned, aligned, or connected on another. And I became curious about what it would be like to feel more comfortable to relate to things that do not have such clear answers and easy things to, I don't mean to say it's easy because it's not always easy, but things that we can carry on our own. And so this and moving to DC and realizing I was gonna fucking die if I stayed in a 9-to-5 job, set me on an adventure around the world. And after that, I moved to California. My brother died shortly after that. I continued to travel. And for the next 6 years following, I struggled deeply with mental health issues. COVID-19 hit. I went on a deep journey into the mind, and I began to study sacred sexuality, which was a vision that I had back in 2019. Some of these things feel a little bit old. I've never said my story all in one go, and I'm still not necessarily doing it now. But I've said these different pieces in different videos as I've been coming out slowly over the last 2 years. One of the things that happened last year at this time, though, was that I chose to voice my struggle with depression publicly. I felt nervous voicing this because I had been studying coaching. My sessions were going amazing. I had a way of connecting people's inner worlds. But internally, the more that I connected with people, the more intense my inner world also became. And I chose to voice my own fear and anger and stress. And a year ago at this time, I had the privilege of getting to go to a virtual conference from an organization called IONS that connected people who were researchers on the edge of science. IONS re-empowered this side of me who was feeling dissatisfied with the business side of the coaching industry and craving to know that the future of science will lead to our alignment with greater truth and harmony that is our beings connected to all things. After that, I went to a conference called Take Back Tech in Chicago, put on by Media Justice and Mi Gente, a Latino and a Black organization. There was people from all over at this conference, and it gave me an image of hope that I had not felt in the entire time since originally studying user experience design, pulling away from the world and wondering how to have a healthy relationship to technology. This conference brought together all kinds of leaders who said and showed that the future of technology is not just white men making decisions that impact the rest of the world, that it gets to look like us, women, people of color, people of every single race and age and ability. people of different languages. This is a microcosm into the future of governance as well. That governance is not going to be only one type of person and only one type of demeanor. Governance is not just about the people sitting in the seats of power as they exist today, but about those of us, all of us, rising and taking responsibility and accountability for the earth that we are on and the communities that we are building. So in the year of actually choosing to speak my depression and angst, I opened up a world of collaborators who share similar concerns, who sit in their fields frustrated, who are looking for other ways. And at the same time, I did not drop my visions for Liberatory Love, which is my relationship coaching work. I know that for me to exist on the earth, I need to be operating from the heart. I know that sexuality is a space of deep spiritual practice. And I know that my heart is connected to spiritual and energetic work. I know that this space is one that is still growing and that there's something beautiful about it that I personally am attracted to, which is our human rejection of it. The way that even speaking about it at times generates disgust, anger, teaches us and shows us how afraid we are of our inner world, an inner world that is both physical and social, and also told to be kept private. Over this time, I began to put together Seeds of Elegance, which is a platform for a podcast and a platform for conversations with people who are working at these edges. And during these years as well, I also lost my grandmother. So the conversations that I've been having with my brother who passed internally, or however, if you speak to the dead, and with my grandmother who is passing and who did pass, they opened doorways and questions about, as well as with my nieces and nephews who were continuing to be born, they opened doorways and pathways for questions about how to live on the earth now. And me as a spiritual being, as a student of religion, as an examiner of body politic, not just politics in the way that it's an act, but our larger body politic for how we steward the world, as someone inquiring about the evolution of science, the future of economics, living more sustainably, personally, and together, I recognize that all of these questions are not always meant to be answered in the same place or sought after in the same place. And yet, I have found that as we continue to ask the questions, new pathways open. So I share this to acknowledge that the work that I am doing is not limited to business. It doesn't fit neatly into a box, and neither do I. And neither do most of the people who come my way. It is with this that I humbly uplift the business that Liberatory Love is, the business that Elegance Lab is, the business that Fully Charged Life is, 3 businesses that came to me at the time of my grandmother's passing that I truly believe in and believe are necessary and needed at this time, shifting our relationship to technology, relationship work, and a more artistic and creative approach to business, but also owning that these are just manifestations of my creative being. And my creative being is fundamentally interconnected to the community and the whole. That is constantly being remade and reordered through the relationships in my life. That there has been many, many breakdowns that has led to where I am at now. And in fact, I am not here on my own. If manifestation was immediate, I would have died many times already based on how many times I have not wanted to be on this earth. And I speak that and also welcome suicidal ideation with the people around me, not the ideation side. I'm not a formal therapist here to work on that side, but the suicidal desire, because I believe it's completely normal to want to die in this society. If you're somebody who's experiencing a quality of pain that you feel you cannot get out of and don't have the tools yet to face this. I believe that we need a more normalized conversation about suicide. I believe we need a more normalized conversation about wanting to give up. And not every single one of us is going to be present for that or needs to be, but it gets to be here. I have broken down over and over and over for 6 years, and the community that is receiving this email and beyond has held me. Thank you. Thank you. I can't do it alone, and I don't want to. And I have a huge capacity and a huge desire and a lot of visions, and I'm rebellious and stubborn as fuck. And I want to do a lot of things. And so I invite you into some of those spaces. But I give this partial introduction to acknowledge that the way that I operate my business and my life is unconventional. And I am doing my best. And amazing and beautiful things are emerging because of it. And it might feel a little uncomfortable here. I do not operate on business rules alone. I don't operate on religious rules alone. I don't operate on spiritual rules alone. And I don't operate on social norms alone. I inquire and learn in a lot of spaces, and I bring what I'm learning to what I'm doing and to how I'm showing up as a human. But what I do bring is devotion. I believe we are made to live from the heart. And even if that is not the core place that you want to operate from, in yoga, they say there are 4 different types of yoga. There's those of us who find our path through knowledge, through discipline, through action, and through the heart, through worship. And I would say I'm more of a bhakti yoga. That is the worship yoga. But I do believe that when we start from this place, so much becomes possible. I believe courage is needed for this stage of life. I believe we are being helped and supported, and also that there's so much change coming our way, that being courageous will be rewarded, but it's not easy. It gets to be easeful, but it's not automatically easy. And I invite the people around me to come with the quality of courage. I also work with trust in different ways. I am here for abundance, but abundance for me is not solely money. It is time, it is space, it is energy, it is emotion, it is resources. And I invite people in my life to explore that. And I don't know a single person who's not experiencing the limits of these things, but also questioning the limits of these things and questioning what is possible. And if you're in part of the space that I'm building, I invite you to rethink value, knowing that some of us are going to have financial resources to put down, but some of us are going to have energetic and emotional and social and spiritual and connective resources, and these matter the same and more. And finally, devotion, courage, trust, and play. I truly believe we are here to play. But that play does not just come in pockets. It's through embracing and engaging our full sovereignty, our leadership. It's going to look different for us, and there has to be room for that. I'm not always going to be the perfect person to talk to about these things because I'm quite opinionated about where I'm going and what I'm here to work on. But I do have faith that I have enough devotion to begin to lay a ground for a more heart-centered, creative, embodied, and relational leadership. And so it's from this place that I invite you into some of the work that I will be opening up to. Over the next 6 months, I will be working on the financial and I don't want to say professional because it is all interconnected, but the financial side of what I am doing, which is the business side of my work. I believe that fully charged life is needed at this time because we actually need a reframe. Our whole technological revolution is supporting us to understand what it feels like when something is charged and not charged. And we have the opportunity to begin to use this to understand our own energy. With Liberatory Love, there is an actual opening in sacred sexuality and shadow work and subconscious healing that is developing. And we need strong leadership in that space, which is going to radically pivot how we do everything else in society. And with Elegance Lab, we need to be, in my vantage point, uplifting the spiral, sacred geometry, and the tools from nature to shift how we design and operate things so that they are fundamentally more aligned with nature and capable of sustaining. These things are not just images, they are also relational postures and ways of being and ways of connecting that nature and animals and different patterns within our body, within the cosmos, have to teach us. These are the endeavors that I will be continuing to work on. And then, of course, there is the informal side as well. There is Seats of Elegance. There is all of us who are experimenting. There is my work with the Baha'i faith and interfaith work. There is so many openings and so much opportunity. And that's just one thing that I want to impart here before I name some of the opportunities to work with me directly. For me to come into the place that I am now, I had to drop the desire and the expectation for certain people to save me, liberate me, or be the guide that I wanted. And it didn't mean that I didn't have some very beautiful people supporting me on the path and who continue to support me on the path. But I had to begin to really listen to the call of my own heart. And it is through that that I understand that we each have a different journey on this earth, and that I really encourage you to seek after your own inner truth. That you ask and stay open to what is possible in your life and in this lifetime for you. Okay, that being said, if what I'm saying does resonate, if you do have a desire to do your business in a different way or to be engaged in leadership from a different place, or if you specifically are interested in erotic leadership, sexual healing, and a more conscious quality of intimacy, including emotional intimacy, and if you have a desire to integrate energy work into your life without necessarily learning the systems of Tantra, Yoga, Qigong, or a more formal energy system, all of which are amazing, but you want to more be in the practice of and the shift of how to organize your time and your energy around your larger goals that are both personal and collective, then I might be a good guide for you. There are 4 different ways to get involved with me. One is twice a month, I'm going to be leading 9-day excursions. These are audio led. You will receive them on your WhatsApp or Telegram. And you're going to be in a small group where you're also going to be receiving as a group. They are designed to be very personal, and they allow me to infuse lessons that I am learning from, since I'm in a state where I'm learning from a lot of different teachers right now, but focused around a specific theme. So Into the Wild, our first one that we are on right now, has to do with the foundations of consensual relating. The second, these 9-day excursions will happen on the 1st and the 15th, and the first will be women only, and then from the 15th on, trans women included, and then from the 15th on the second excursion of the month, these are mixed gender. Okay, the second way that you can get involved is through intimacy workshops, emotional intimacy workshops. I will do these right now more based on demand, but twice a month. These are 2.5 long, and they're going to involve subconscious healing, meditative work, embodiment exercises, as well as practices. These are going to come through my learning, through the small group coaching I'm doing, what I'm seeing, what is needed, and then also around core themes within the space of sacred sexuality. And then there's 2 coaching containers, and I'm doing them in a group setting. So you'll pay monthly and you will have 3 sessions and a community that you're moving with and a personal session with me. And you can work with me either on erotic empowerment and conscious sexuality or on dream doulaship. Erotic empowerment and conscious sexuality is all about self-sovereignty, coming back into yourself, shifting your relationship dynamics, and really dismantling the ways of being and thinking that have kept you from owning your full leadership within your own heart and life and relationship. Dream doulaship is when you are ready to really birth an idea into the world and you want to begin to be in the flow and the radiance of allowing this world and our collective to speak through you and to you, to allow ease of something that is also a very painful process, but a very beautiful process, just like breathing Liberatory Love, Elegance Lab, Fully Charged Life, and Seeds of Elegance have been for me. I was not in a state where I could listen to anyone in particular, but where I was able to call in and receive lots of guidance that allowed these things to come through me, which are still developing. All while the heart was breaking open. And this is my vision for you, that your heart gets to be centered, that I can actually guide you through the 6 years that I went on of questioning everything, to just come straight into the rebel in you and the liberator in you, who are already here to defy standards and gravity, and also to operate at the standard that you desire to live from. If any of these are appealing, there are links below. There is so much that is going to be continuing to happen over these next 6 months. I'll be deepening in some of my spiritual studies. I will be deepening in my somatic work, my shadow work, my guidance in business, and really be integrating these themes, these relationships into the containers that I'm holding. I would love to support you through your own evolution at this time. And I truly believe that we are the leaders that we've been waiting for. And that is not meant to just be a painful journey, even though there's a lot of change in store. It's also meant to be one that is exciting, is pleasurable, is joyful, is connective, opens us up, and that there will be a lot of shedding in the process, but that truly everything is here to teach us if we stay open to it.